Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for coming back, and as always, huge massive thank you for the support. I really do appreciate it. So I'm coming back again with the current members free gift, which is this Timeless Poinsettias Matastic one. I would say if you are looking to get it, you might want to just think about doing that sooner rather than later, because the stock updates today were saying that the bundle stock is very low, and I think also the gift on its own, the kit on its own, is also not, the stock is running down on that as well. But today I'm playing with the last one, which is the Warmest Wishes. So we've got quite a few toppers on here. We've got these two big ones with the frame. We've got this beautiful poinsettia one without a frame. We've got a Winter Wishes from our family to yours. 'Tis the season. Two tags, the Warmest Wishes this Christmas and the poinsettia in the dome. The Joyeux Noel, sorry for any French guys out there that I am saying killing that, but in the worst way. But yeah, my French is not great. And then we've got a border, and then the inserts. If you've got the bundle, the inserts are there. So you've got that dome again. I have already chopped into one for one of my cards. Then that's that way around. Oh no, it isn't. It is that way around because the robin would be upside down. So we've got our printed card stock where we've got our poinsettia at the bottom there. We've also got a piece there. Then the foiled card stock, we've got that domed one again, so pretty, delicately foiled with this beautiful holly and poinsettia running alongside it. And then I have brought in some of the foiled cardstock, which is also in the bundle. You will see I've been chopping into this one. You can see how much I've taken out of them, and I made an A2 card, which was with the leftovers from the last little video. And honestly, the little A2 card I made using this one is my favourite card I've made out of this kit so far. So if you have got Pinterest, it's worth just popping over it and just having a quick look, because it's a really lovely card. Okay, so for my first card, I want to just make sure that one is near the top. And we can bring that in. So both of the cards today are going to be 6 by 6, but the second card is going to be, I haven't made a card like it on my videos before, so hopefully that is going to go okay. But let's just take a piece of 6 by 12 cardstock. This is 300 GSM. I'm just going to score that in half to make my 6 by 6 card blank. Just going to use this little card burnisher. I think it might be porcelain, but Mum got that from Amazon, so I don't know exactly its name or its link. It's one of those beautiful things that I inherited, started using, and I realised my mum was actually a genius. I'm so sorry I never told her so, but yeah, she did know good craft stuff when she found it. Okay, so the foiling's gold, so I'm just taking a 6 by 6 Miri mat, and I'm taking 1/8 of an inch or 2 notches off 2 of those sides, just to give me that little white border all the way around. If I turn that around, it will flash at the camera a bit, I'm afraid, but you can just see you've got that lovely white border. It just makes it look like you're working harder than you are, because you've already got an extra layer there. And then I'm going to take this foiled cardstock, and I'm going to cut the piece to 5 3/4. Five and 3/4, and all of these bits are going into the back into the envelope I keep them in, so that we can hopefully bring them in when I have a little play with the little book next time. Okay. Oh, the other thing I wanted to do, let me just grab that back out, and I want to take that foiled cardstock. Where's that white one gone? Hiding from me. disappeared. Let's just, there you go, so you really are hiding. Those back there, and then what I want to do is just take maybe 1/2 inch, so it's just going to be like the tiniest bit. Again, I'm going to cut that to 5 3/4, and then if I just reach into my bit box, grab a little bit of tape. So we did that at 1/2 inch, didn't we? So I just need to go 1/2 inch plus 2 notches. Just pop a little bit of tape on there just to keep that in place. That can go back in my bit box for now, although I think it's probably going to be, oh no, that's the wrong bit, we want that bit. That bit can go back in the bit box. And then we're going to cut this at 5 3/4 as well. And that's just going to give me a really pretty, just a little bit of foil decoration to the bottom of that card. Break up that brown, although it's very pretty as it is. There's no reason why we can't take that a little bit further. So the glues I'm going to be using today, I've got the Cloud all-purpose glue, which is an alcohol-based glue. I've got the Cloud tacky glue, which is a sort of PVA water-based glue. Probably going to be using the dotty tape pen. Probably going to be using the purple glue stick at some point. I tend to use 2 glues on my cards. If you've been with me a while, you'll know this. Mainly this is for the purpose of videos, really. If I was not making videos, I would use just the all-purpose glue on most things except for paper. But the PVA, the tacky glue in the corners, it does 2 things for me on these videos. Number one, it glues a bit faster than the all-purpose, so it's easier for me to move on to the next part of what I'm doing. But it also just makes sure that those ends are glued down for me. I really hate it on a card where I see a layer that's got the sort of corners coming up, because then they tend to get damaged in transit. I think that's probably a sort of throwback to when I was going to card shows and things, you know, selling my cards. If everything's nice and flat, it's just easier to keep things looking good. Okay, so I'm just going to pop this across here. That's just broken up that brown a bit, and it's also brought that lovely bit of glitter. Although it's not really clear that it's a plank anymore, it's just pretty. So the long and the short with the glues is, you know, whatever glue you're using, if it works for you, stick with it, don't change. But if you want to try any of these glues, then really one or the other will work, although you do need different glues for different things. Like the PVA glue, you couldn't, you know, I wouldn't advise using that a lot on paper because it can make the paper bubble. Okay, so here we have, it's looking pretty good as it is actually. I mean, you could come in with the alphabet, put Noel on there, and that would be a pretty gorgeous card. But we're going to come in with the kit. Now this is a bigger topper. It is pretty much, no, if we take the insert out first of all, that will make it easier to pop that out. And if you didn't want to, if you didn't have the foil card, you could always come in with that border instead. So my plan was to change the direction on these, so have this one going like so. That one going across. I may change my mind on that. And then with Joyeux Noel. Sorry guys. That's going to be the plan, but let's see. See, I'm not liking how that sort of blends into that background a lot. So maybe we will have to change our mind on the design. Happens sometimes. The other option is to bring in maybe a different piece of that foil card. Let's just grab the green, pop that behind there, and then pop that on. But I think that really takes away, you know, even though it takes away from the design a bit much, so I'm just going to rotate it and orient it the way it's supposed to be. And it is covering a lot up of the foiling, which is a bit sad, but we can live with that. Okay, so just going to trim some of these little pips off. Sometimes it's easier to see them from the reverse. And then obviously some gems in this corner is going to bring everything together. Sometimes I think when you start putting the toppers on and you think the card is just missing something, you know, there's just something, it needs that little thing just to tie it together. And with Christmas cards it can be a little bit of, you could have a little die cut poinsettia up there to bring that red in. You could bring in, you know, your little gold peel off up in that corner, decorate it. A little bit of holly, you know, all of those little things. But for me, I'm just going to use the gems. Okay, and I'm thinking what I might do is go 2mm on the frame and then have the insert flat inside. So let's grab some 2mm foam pads. Just going to pop that down so we have a rough idea of where we are putting things, because I don't really want to put them on top of where I've put that that border, because the pads that I mean, because that's probably about 1mm high now with the gold, and then with the cardstock, that foiled cardstock, it is going to raise it up a little. So I really don't want to, I'll leave that one off actually, I think that's going to be plenty. I don't want to put any pads on there because then that's going to be 3mm high at one end, which you will see, recipient may not. So if it happens, it's not that big a deal, but it's something your eye will go to on the card, and because we do see the worst in our cards. I think it's human nature to just sort of be hypercritical of your own work, and sometimes the best thing you can do is just take a picture of it and look at it as a picture, as a photograph, because your eye sort of separates the emotion from the card a little bit, and then you can see actually your card is beautiful. So for the inside, I'm just going to use the all-purpose glue. It's just going to give me that ability to wiggle it into place. Just hold that up. And the reason why I put the purple glue stick on the back of the foam pads, if you're new to my channel, just gives them a little bit of wiggle room, so that if perhaps I hadn't got that quite straight, I think we're pretty much there, but what it will do is it will allow you just to shift things about a little bit just for a second, while you get that into place. Now I'm thinking, do I want that there or do I want that there? No, I'm going to put it down here. What I'm going to do is, because there is that 1mm difference, I'm just going to pop 1mm pad. Let me just chop it in half. Make sure I've got it the right way up. Just going to pop a little bit at the top and the bottom. I could have gone with 2mm if I wanted to. A little bit of purple glue stick. A little bit of tacky glue because that will stick to that border. Just going to make sure that's not showing. Foam pad, and then we can just pop that on. And then if I bring in some gold, you could again go red, green, whatever you feel, but I'm just going to go with 3 in this corner if I can get them to turn over. 1, maybe they're a bit small. No, I'll go with those, I think. So let's put that to the side, and then all we're going to need is 3 little blobs of glue. And you could go with, you've seen me do like a sort of diagonal swish, however you want to fill this bit of space. And I haven't mentioned it, but you could always come in and have embossed that piece before you pop that down. But that is going to be our card number 1. Don't know where it could have done with a gem there. I may come back and add one in, but I think for card number 1, that's going to be a super pretty start. So I'm just going to get set up for card number 2. Okay, so I've got a piece of 6x12 white 300 GSM cardstock. I've got another piece which is was in my bit box, was left over. And I'm just going to cut, I need 2 pieces of 2 inches. So I'm hoping that if I cut that, I'm pretty much going to get that. Just check they're the same. Might need to just take the tiniest bit off that, I will do. Okay, and then if I bring in my scoreboard, and I'm going to score at 3 inches and at 3 inches just to make that gatefold. And then these pieces I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. Just to make a tap. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is just bring it in my guillotine. And because we're going to be folding these over and popping them on there, that's going to make an extra bit of thickness here. So it won't close as neatly as a gatefold. So what I'm going to do is just pop this into my guillotine, just because this is the easiest way to cut a small amount off. And I'm just going to take probably just about 1 millimetre, if that. Okay, so I'm just going to take that off both sides. I will keep that there a minute in case I need it. But if I fold these over, that's the way to side. So my cardstock is whiter on one side than the other. So you can see you've got that little gap there now. And then if I burnish that one down as well, and this one, I'm just going to check that when I've put these on, that is going to meet. Oops, let's put that there. So I want it to close really nicely and neatly, and it just does. So that's going to lie flat. So just worth checking before you start gluing things down. Ask me how I know, because the first 2 I didn't quite go to plan, but now we know, so I can give you the lowdown. Now there are 2 ways of gluing this down. Now you don't need to trim it if you're going to glue it to the front, but you will have that edge sort of, even when it's glued nice and flat, you are going to see a little bit of thickness there. So I'm going to be popping mine behind, which is why I've taken that little bit of edge off. But you can do it both ways. Obviously I'm using a red liner glue, red liner tape, just for the sake of the video and making it nice and fast for you, or maybe not fast, but quicker than if I used the wet glue and sat here holding it to take. But you can certainly use your wet glues like your PVA if you wanted to. Okay, so I'm going to take this off. I am going to pop a little bit of PVA on the end. It just saves going in again with the glue. And then I'm just going to butt that up. I can feel when it's at the top of my card, and then I can just fold that over. And then again, I'll just put a little bit of PVA on that corner. And we'll do the same again, probably the best way to do it. Pop it on when it's snug. And then we've got our card with our fold back. So because I've glued it on here, I do need to decorate on there. So it is going to take extra gold mirror, extra papers, but with the bundle you get loads of stuff. So it's a good opportunity to play and bring those in. So I'm going to start with a 6x6 gold mirror, and I'm going to take 2 notches off 2 of the sides, or 1/8 of an inch off 2 of the sides, to put that into the center. You could just go ahead and put your insert down flat if you wanted to, you know, straight onto that cardstock, but I like to put it on the mirror in these gatefolds because it's mirror everywhere else. And then the insert itself, I've cut that to 5 3/4 square, just to get that on there. Now these 2 panels you're going to have to do a little bit of by eye. Now I'm going to take, let me take 2 notches off the 6, because that's, let's turn it around the other way so it's not blaring at you. 2 notches off the 6. And then I'm going to turn it around. So normally this would be 3 inches, but we've taken that bit off. So I'm going to go just under, I'm going to go about 2.5 notches. We'll try that. I think that should be fine. Yeah, I think that's going to be fine. So 2.5 notches under the 3 on both of those. And then I'm going to bring in the double-sided papers. Thinking we'll probably just go with the dark side, but we need to go to 2 3/4 and then just take that extra 1/2 notch off by 5 3/4. And then again the same, so 2 3/4, and then add just another 1/2 notch by 5 3/4. Again, these pieces will go into my bit box. And what I had forgotten about was these pieces here. They are 1.5 by 6, so we might as well go the whole hog and decorate those as well. But what I'll do is turn the paper over on those. But they are 1.5, so we're going to take 2 notches off that for the gold. And that needs to be 2 notches under the 6. And then 1.5 minus 2 notches. And again under the 6. It will be on the other side. And then that's going to be 1 1/4 by 5 3/4. I did tell you it takes a lot of cardstock, this one. And what we'll do is turn that over, and then again for the other side. And this is just the first side, so there is plenty more that needs doing on the other. Right, let me just pop the creaky chair into that pack. So that's the inside pieces done. So let's grab another piece of gold mirror. We'll keep that for a second. So again, these pieces are that 2.5 notches under the 3 by 2 notches under the 6. And that should fit into there beautifully. Same again for the other side, so it's same 2.5 under the 3 by 2 notches under the 6. Same there, and then again here, so they are 1 1/2, so exactly the same as the other side. So let me just take 2 notches of that 6, and 1 1/2 minus 2 notches, 1 1/2 minus 2 notches. So what you've done for the back, you're going to do for the front, basically. So those are those pieces there, and for front we're going to use this cardstock here. So I'm going to start by cutting this down. So 2, 4, 5. I'm going to cut it down to 5 1/2. I think that's going to be plenty. I hope it is. We're going to cut it down to 5 3/4. And then to fit on these panels here, it needs to be 2 3/4 minus and a 1/2 notch. And then 2 3/4 minus 1/2 notch. I cut that quite fine, didn't I? So those are those pieces that should go onto there quite nicely. Okay. And then for these pieces, I want to bring in this beautiful green. So what I will do, they are 1 1/4. So let's just cut 2 of those, 1 1/4. And then they need to be 5 3/4. Obviously those bits will still go in my bit box until I've absolutely decided that I've got no use for them. So they will go in there. Put this up there for now. Okay, so I feel like we've got everything we need to decorate this. Now let's go ahead, and I know 12 minutes in and we've just finished cutting. It's quite a lot of layers. Okay, so because this is insert paper, I'm going to use the dotty tape pen on the corners instead of that PVA. And then I can use my alcohol glue, my all-purpose glue, to float that into place. And use that dotty tape pen to stick down my corners. Just going to give it a nice press down because I do want it to be able to be used as a normal insert. I know it's beautiful and it is there as decoration, but I do ideally like people to be able to write on it still. A little bit of tacky. Now we're on that gold mirror, we're back on the cardstock. I can pop that on. And then it's just a case of popping these little layers on and while I'm doing that, I'll give you a little update on Geronimo. He's doing fine. He's quite a clever boy. He's quite a foodie boy. So on the papers, again, I'm going to be using the dotty tape pen in the corners. He's obsessed with chicken. Chicken is his favourite thing. And we've been doing a little bit of training with him. He is very good. You can just say the word sit to him, and whatever he's doing, he will sit. He's very confident on his down. So he can sort of stand on his two back feet, like beg. We call it up, because it just makes sense to be down and up. He can do that. Sometimes it takes him a minute or two to remember how to balance. I'm working on paw with him. And that's so far, but he's doing quite well considering we are coming up for nearly a month with him. He's still, I call him Bitey McFighty, because he's still quite bitey. He's very weird about the garden. Like if you go out in the garden, he'll attack your feet or your shoes when he comes in. I don't know why. That's his odd thing. So, but if you do tell him to sit, he will. What else does he do? He went up the stairs by himself, little monkey. I said to my sister, he really shouldn't be going upstairs because it's not good for him so young to be climbing stairs, because their bones aren't properly. It takes a while for their bones to harden, but you can't really. He's so fast, you can't really stop him. But we do block it off and try and keep control of him. It's hard with a puppy, isn't it? You forget how much hard work they are, really. They're as hard as babies. I don't remember any of the others being as much hard work as him, but then I think, like Pippin, there was Poppy. Poppy was the same age, so there was two puppies together, so they could entertain each other a little bit. That's the inside done. That wasn't what I planned to do. I'd forgotten that was going to go on the outside, but hey ho. We will roll with it. So this should be the foiled one. So the foiled one is now going to be hidden, which is a big sad. So actually you really don't need to decorate those because that could be hidden. Actually I might put the foil over. So I will put a note up when I'm cutting that I don't use them. I had forgotten that would be behind. What a numpty. But this is the first time I've made discards. So I saw it somewhere and I thought I can make that. So hence why those first two that I made weren't quite correct. But yeah, so I would leave those bits out, which means it's going to save you a bit of gold Mary, isn't it? So that's good. Okay, and although I might leave it at that, we'll have a look on whether I want to change it to the foil or not. I mean, it looks nice. Just probably would look nicer with the foil. Well, hey, we'll see. So I'm not going to decorate those pieces because I've realised now that they are going to be behind. So we've got that there. Do I think that's going to be better? No, just be same-ish. So we'll leave that as it is. Those are our pieces there. So again, you could come in with a big sentiment there. That would be really cool. Let's bring in the topper. I'm going with the big one again, and I am going to use the one in the dome so it matches the insert. And I think I will go with a 'Tis the Season. Maybe across there. Okay, that is the plan. So obviously, because it's a gatefold, you only want to put your glue on one side or the other. I'm going to just give those a good burnish down again. Just to help those stay a little flatter. I think once the weight's on, it will go down. And I think what I'm going to do is put them on alternate sides. So if I turn that upside down, so there is a sort of border at the top, so that needs to go at the top, so let's turn it that way. And then if I bring in my 2mm foam pads, let me grab those, but I can see I have got. And what I want to be doing is popping that into the centre, so I've got that centre line there, and then just going to be bringing in. Let's just cut that down a little bit. And I just want these where they are on that border. Make sure it's straight on each side as well. And there. And need an extra pair of hands. Could have used my tweezers to keep them down. I'll pop that onto there. And then if I carefully peel that off, a little bit of purple glue sticks to there. We're still okay. So what I've done is I've done it upside down. Oh, it's going to be one of those days, but what I'll do is just change that round. Just grab that pip. And it should be the same for the other side. Let me just grab this on there. And what I'm doing is just making sure, so before this was pretty much in the centre of those pieces. So if I line that up there, I've got the centre of that to guide me as well. And then if I lift that up, turn it over, I can't see any foam pads on the back, so that's perfect. And then what I'm going to do is just pop that back down again. This is going to go onto this inside piece. Let's turn it upside down. These ones, hopefully I can get on the right side. And I'm going to put a nice amount on there. If I need to, I can always just slip a little bit of foam pad nearer to the edge if it's a bit gappy. But let's bring that in. Pop that in. You can use the inner frame to guide you if you're a little unsure of where that will go. So you would just pop that back in, not glue it, and then pop that in and then pop it out. And then we've got our sentiment, haven't we? So we could go up here, that would stand out a little better there. Let's go with a 1mm. Okay, let's pop across there. So I didn't want it too high and be forcing up those edges. So we've got our 'Tis the Season. I'm going to keep that clamp on there while I bring in my gems. I think I am going to have a little spray. 1, 2, 3, and then excuse me, 1, 2, 3 and 4, just to get the 7. You know, I like the odd numbers. Sorry, my hands are really dry again today. I'm not sure if it's the weather turning again. Let's stand that up and just grab my little wax tip pickup tool. A little bit of glue. Just clear that little blockage. Oops. Okay, I quite like these two close together. Okay, so a little bit of a disaster in that chopping into things, but then I've got 2 pieces there that I can use on another card. You probably see me use them on the bits left over from this one. Because let me just open that up and show you. Let's finish the job first. So we've got this that opens like so. So they will snuggle in together. It will go fairly flat in an envelope. Maybe needs a bit of give. Like I say, there is the Hunkydory card boxes if you do need one. Maybe hand delivered for you guys overseas. But yeah, just got that slightly different take on the gatefold. Quite like that actually. I think it probably is working better than it would have done with the foil, maybe. But hey ho. Maybe the foiled one, the same one I used on this, the light one, would be nice as well. But let me bring in card 1 and card 2. So we've got our little fold back gatefold, which is a new one for me. I think I only would make it if I've got all of those pieces, those extra pieces of cardstock and paper. And then we've got that one, just needs the insert inside it. So next time I'm going to come back with the little book. So make a couple of cards with that. I'm going to try and aim for some smaller cards because the little book, obviously it's a certain size. So I try and come up with maybe a couple of ideas, maybe an idea at least for a smaller card, and then maybe a 6x6, 5x7, something like that. We'll see. But that's the plan. If you do want to see what I make with the bits left over, the cards do go up on Pinterest. We've got quite a bit left on here. We've got this beautiful sort of urn with the poinsettias in. We've still got those tags there. Obviously I've got the foiled cardstock. I mean, that could be a card on its own. And then there's the other piece which can be a card, it would definitely be a card on its own because it's foiled, beautifully foiled, I have to say. So I will make cards. They will go up tomorrow. I usually do them the day after. I haven't, with the Christmas ones, I didn't have as much time as I would have liked, and really I think I was still in that sort of funk after losing George, where I wasn't doing the extra crafting, but I have been back enjoying my crafting, and those have been going up, certainly for all of this kit and for a few of the cards before that. But that's it for me waffling today. Like I say, I'll be back with that little book next time just to finish off this whole members free gift. Like I said earlier, the stock updates are saying that it is going fast, especially the bundle. And the bundle, for me, 100% is the best value, because you get so much in it, and it just enables you to take that crafting a little bit further with it. But until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, commenting, all of the wonderful things you do. And until next time, happy crafting. Bye.